following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.
This isn't just a game, this is iRacing. Only 3 races to go in this All-American Cup Series season. 3 races to go in the 2024 season. As we get closer and closer to crowning a champion in what has been arguably the closest battle in league history. As 3 drivers sit underneath a blanket looking to win the All-American Cup Series championship. And tonight, might be the biggest wild card of them all. The Richmond Raceway 3/4 mile track, as we've got ourselves a pretty big field ready to go racing here tonight for 200 laps in the Richmond Rock and Roll 200 in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I am the captain. We welcome you in on this Thursday evening. Hopefully you're having a great week so far. It is almost over, and we're almost to Halloween as we get ready to go racing, and you wonder who is going to rise to the top and put themselves ahead to win this championship and who might falter when it's all said and done. As mentioned, 3 races left, and it starts tonight here on this 3/4 mile Richmond Raceway. Last week, Talladega Superspeedway Stephen Miles became the first 3-time winner on the season, and he looks to keep his momentum going here tonight on a track that is going to open up, I think, throughout the race here. Of course, the lights are on. Track record actually might be in jeopardy, as I'm hearing. But needless to say, this track with the worn-out surface it has and the way these Cup cars run, the Gen 4s, anything can happen and will happen here at the track they call the action track. At least it kind of used to be, unfortunately. There's been some things that have happened in recent times on this Richmond Raceway with the next-gen cars that have kind of hurt the track. But needless to say, tonight, if this is a traditional race at Richmond, it could be a long night. It could be an interesting night. And we could see some playoff hopefuls get taken out of the running. But we could see some also rise and put themselves in that chance for the championship. Practice is over right now. We'll recap and get you ready for the race coming up here during the warm-up. Right now, though, we're going to qualifying, which, of course, is presented by Mike Husby Designs, MHD, and the Pole Award here at Richmond, who is going to get themselves a great starting position at a track that some argue might have one of the best overall pit advantages by having that number 1 pit stall, and that is here at Richmond. So let's see as the cars will get out on track for their 2 laps. Probably going to be a good idea as I see that sun setting. Wait as long as you can to get a lap laid down here because the track is going to continue to cool down. It's going to continue to gain grip. And yeah, it did rubber up pretty well in practice, but still, I think the later you wait here, the better the run is going to be when it's all over with here. But we see a couple cars out on track already. A 37 of Thomas Stokes. We saw Spence Thompson, a couple of rookies out there. Now, you wonder what the track record is here at the Richmond Raceway. It is a 22.161 done by Zach Henry 2 seasons ago. That we could see 21-second laps tonight. That's how fast these cars are right now. As a matter of fact, Spence Thompson just laid down a 22.26 for his first lap, and we are already a 10th off the pole, or off the track record, which is that 1 lap by Spence Thompson. Ritter going to be up to the 2nd position right now. Let's get you the standings and where everybody holds right now. Thompson still up there at the poles. Nick Sargent goes P2 in the Bugs Bunny DuPont car. Mark Whitley, who said this is one of his best tracks, goes P9 right now at a 20. Well, he was P9 until just now as he crossed the line. 22 flat. A 007 for Mark Whitley's. Oh, and Daniel Giroux goes spitting into turn 1's wall. Hard lick there. Steve Ritter up to 2nd. Lilith Peters in the field tonight. Lilith up to the 4th position right now as other cars running laps. Still got plenty of others out there. Here's the Yukon car of Stephen Melnick. See this car getting very loose. Worn out, sir. Chris Worrell up to the 2nd position. Not sure if he's making his debut here tonight or maybe the season debut, but 22.054. 2nd lap has him P2. Silver's going to slide into the 3rd position. Track record might just be safe here in the end. Let's see what some of these heavy hitters here. Casey Carrington coming out on track. Ken Robnett coming back or onto the track. Stephen Miles going to be on track here momentarily as Robnett goes to a 22.53 in that 9 car. Justin Thompson up the 5th. That's another heavy hitter. We'll keep an eye on him if we see any purple times here. And look at Robnett right now. There's purple. through 1 and 2, brings that tops number 9 off turn. Oh, he's in the wall. That's going to kill his lap. That did him in right there. Austin Bloom slides up to P7. Carrington in the green. Can he get the pole? No, P3, 22-14. And here's Stephen Miles, the Talladega winner. He's on track now in this number 1 car, Laser Racing. Oh, getting loose there. Going to fight it a little bit there in turn 1 and 2. Obviously going to be a little bit of a throwaway lap here for the driver of the 1. Stan Carnathan on the track. Also Dylan Rosenberg on track. Miles crosses the line in 18th with a 22.51. Let's see if he can get off turn 1 and 2 better than he did that time by that car. Oh, and around he goes. So it will not be a pole lap for him. Here's Dylan Rosenberg in the 91 car. And he slots in P4, 22.15. And Mark Whitley might be looking at a pole here tonight, as only Stan Carnathan, the only track car to run a lap here, left on track, and Stan goes 5th with a 22.16. And nobody else is going to run a lap, so Mark Whitley going to win the pole. And Zach Henry's track record safe, it looks like here tonight. A 22 flat. Going to be the pole for the 77 car, so congratulations to him. And a big shout out to Mike Husby Designs and MHD for the pole award, as always, this season. As we get you ready now for the race with the warm-up session. And this is where they go out there and just run 5 minutes of practice, basically. And we will talk about the point standings, because that is the big topic right now. 30 points separating the top 3 after the race at Talladega last week. Casey Carrington right there, 30 points back. Stephen Miles took the points lead with his win over Mark Whitley, who sits 3 points back. And what is going to be a close battle. Carrington going to need a little bit of help here, I think, to get back in this. But anything can happen, especially at a track like Richmond. And the reason why I bring this up, let's go look at the previous history of Richmond. Yes, Mark Whitley has won the last 2 times we've been here. However, we had 12 cautions the first time here, 18 cautions the second time here, and then we had 7 last season, or 2 seasons ago here. So the chances are we could have some cautions here tonight, and that's going to put strategy into play and all different types of things. So those 3 are going to be on their heels tonight, because there's going to be probably some tempers here tonight. There's going to be some frustration, and who knows, we could see one of these guys break away and look at the championship coming up. Of course, for Whitley, it'd be his 3rd straight championship, as Mark leads the overall points here in 2024 of a Casey Carrington, 58 points back. Stephen Miles, 63 back. And then Matthew Weeks, a distance 198 points back right now in the overall championship. This is all of Season 7 and Season 8's points combined in this championship. So that's where that lines up right now. Team points, it's been Laser Racing dominating all season long, and they have a 61-point lead right now over CX2. Cornerstone Motorsports is 3rd. Velocity and the non-applicable Motorsports, which I'm sure means something else, but the NAA Motorsports, they're in the 5th position. Rookie of the Year points, Spence Thompson leading Charles Van Schaik by 4 right now. Then it's a good little gap back to John Osborne, Daniel Giroux, and Nick Gowen. Your top 5 there in the point standings, so it looks like a 2-man show in that fight. And in last but certainly not least, the Manufactured Championship, Chevrolet can actually clinch this tonight with a win in the race. So obviously a few Chevy cars out there. I know all of them technically are Chevys in iRacing, but some of them are bodied to different cars and signed up manufactured wise. So obviously a win by a Chevrolet car will put them in the winner circle for the manufacturer's title. So, all right. By the way, for those counting, that's a 12 caution average, if you're wanting to know. So, over under 12 cautions in tonight's race. We'll let you decide that one when it's all said and done. All right, so how much time do I have in warm-up here? Got about a minute or so before we go to the track for the national anthem. So let's talk to a driver and see how some of these guys are feeling here this evening. let's actually talk with the points leader here. Let's get Miles and hear what he has to say as Stephen Miles joins us, getting ready to go racing here tonight. Bud, you're the points leader, and now you got 3 wins this season, obviously leading the points overall for season number 8, and you go into a track that has averaged 12 cautions in the 3 races here. How do we survive?
That's a good question, Skylar. I'm sitting here thinking the same thing, trying to figure out what I need to do. Had a bad qualifying effort just then, wasn't even in the zone, so I got a long ladder to climb tonight to try to even get there to race with Whitley or those guys. I hope I get a good top 5 finish just to keep that gap closed. But we all know Whitley, this is his track, and we know how guys get here on this short track, man. It's all about short track racing.
Does that, I know your strong point this season, and pretty much all the series you've been running in has been the long run. Does that definitely hurt, or at least make you change your mindset going into tonight's race, knowing that, hey, there could be cautions and we might not get a long run?
I thought we always kind of do get a good long run somewhere, and then when that caution come out, it just breeds other cautions. This tire and this package is not about saving, because the fall off really isn't that much. You can't really even save here. I feel like you really got to drive it off the right rear so your right front don't burn out more and you get pushed. So right here, I mean, it's a lot of traffic. It's gonna be aero tight. Just gonna have to mind P's and Q's, man, and just try to get a good finish, man, and focus in.
There you go, bud. Well, hey, best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Stephen Miles getting ready to start, unfortunately, towards the back, as he had a little bit of a rough qualifying effort, but he knows what he's doing, and he'll work his way up there in his Laser Racing number 1 as we go trackside for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, the grid is set for 200 laps here in the Richmond Rock and Roll 200. As we take a look at the starting lineup, is Mark Whitley going to be on the pole? Chris Worrell will start there on his outside. Casey Carrington got a lot of points to make up here, and that starts tonight for that 9 car. He'll start next to Dylan Rosenberg with a good qualifying effort there in the 91 car. Stan Carnathan, good qualifying effort there in the 97. He will start next to Zach Rogers. James Silvers, Justin Thompson in row 4. Row 5, C. Britter. Spence Thompson, the rookie there, with a good 10th place qualifying effort. Austin Bloom coming off a top 3 at Talladega will start next to Brad Delph. Row number 7 sees Lilith Peters and Kyle Hall. Ryan Strunk, Daniel Giroux there. Row 8. Row 9, Josh Dillon and Nick Sargent. Nick Leo, Stephen Miles. Row 10, Ken Romnett, Thomas Stokes, Stephen Melnick, Jake Vanoski in row 12. John Osborne, Curtis White, Jonathan Cadell, and Matthew Weeks. These guys didn't run qualifying laps. Charles Van Schaik, Jose Ruiz, Mike Husby, Craig Martin, Jordan Owens, and Trevor McLaughlin. And we had 4 cars actually not grid, so I'm not sure if they fell through the server or what took place there, but unfortunately, breaks for those guys. 200 laps tonight. And want to give a shout out to Sim Racer Hub. This is their last race as the presenting partner here of the All-American Cup Series. So big shout out to Clinton Steed and Sim Racer Hub for what they've done to help the series out. 79 degrees, that's going to get cooler. Track temp at 82, that's going to get cooler here tonight. But the one thing that's going to get hotter is the action as the pace car pulls off. 3 races to go. Who's going to win the championship first? We have to get through Richmond. And our cameras presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online on Facebook in the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com as Whitley gets to jump on Worrell through turn 1. And down the back straightaway to first side-by-side with Dylan Rosenberg and Casey Carrington in that 9 car. D-shaped oval. About 12 degrees of banking in the corners. Some call this the perfect short track, but unfortunately, it's had its rough run here of recent times with that next-gen car in real life. But I think tonight you're going to see why this Richmond track is a fun one to race. As Whitley already pulling out to about a 0.6 of a second lead. Some say he might be the car to beat here tonight. But right here at third, finally kind of settling down. There's Thompson. Trying to look underneath that 91 car, not able to do so. Everybody single file back to about the 12th position. And then here's Austin Bloom, Lilith Peters in that Altel 01 car. Ryan Strunk. There's the 92 of Daniel Giroux as 45 get a little loose off the corner. I'm curious to see if this track opens up eventually in this race. Right now you see it about a groove and a half. And you're seeing the middle lane already kind of maintaining, so you wonder, as this track rubbers up a little bit, will it open up to be that Richmond Raceway we know? Arrive at Austin Bloom into the corner there. Send it in there pretty deep, but this car, as you're going to see, is going to get very loose. It's going to get to a point where you're not even going to be full throttle on a straightaway until you literally pass the start-finish line, especially on the front stretches. We arrive with Dylan Rosenberg, the 4th position here, as he's got Justin Thompson right on his derriere. 2 similar blue-colored cars. Rosenberg back here, and we jump back to the battle with Steve Ritter and Austin Bloom now. Bloom up to the 12th position, gets a little loose, almost tail whips to 16. That would not have been good, as that could have been trouble. Ryan Strunk trying to stick his nose in there, as these guys battling back here at the 12th position right now. 13th, 14th, 15th, and hello to Brantley Roden watching in the chat here. Also spotting probably for Mark Whitley tonight. This is good practice for those who like to short track race with keeping the rear tires on your car. You can try to drive the car as straight as you can off. Keep those rear tires under you and preserve and make them last for as long of a run as possible. Now remember, these guys do not run the full fuel here in this league. It's 85% fuel here tonight, which is roughly 75 laps. So about a 2-stop strategy if this race were to stay green. Now, let's just be honest, that if word is as big as this track right now. As I mentioned a little bit ago, average cautions here, 12 in 3 races so far. Check back here on Matthew Weeks. He's on the move already, up 7 positions. And he's on the inside of Nick Leo there. This is at the 21st position. Stephen Miles there behind, or in front of him now, as he's trying to work his way up to the 18th position right now. Whitley out to a 9/10 of a second lead already, as this battle here just won't go away. At Leaf Guard of Vermont, number 16, looking inside the Sprite 45. Kyle Hall having some blinking issues there. He should be okay when it's all over with. And look at Ryan Strunk and a sticker in there, 3 wide. Oh, I'm a little nervous on this one. And Ryan thinks better of it, backs out of it. And so did Ritter, and that's going to give Bloom the position, it looks like, here off of turn 2. These guys can finally settle down after the first 12 laps of the race. But I say that, and here comes Ritter back to the inside again. Short track racing at its finest right here. Oh. Bloom gets the outside wall just a little bit there. This car is like a magnet when it comes to that wall. So finally, Ritter's going to go by for 12th. Strunk by for 13th as Lilith Peters trying to get in there. Also in battle for position. So these guys all calm down. Let's jump back to 22nd now. As Vinoski, Josh Dillon, Nick Leo, John Osborne all here. I mean, this track with the banking and the surface here. One that's opened up to great racing. You can get that side by side. You can almost drive up to the wall and create 3 wide racing, but I'm starting to see it here a little bit already early in this race. Mark Whitley out to 1.2 seconds now for Worrell, and then Carrington, Dylan Rosenberg, Justin Thompson still your top 5 after the 17 laps. This track with some big time history. For those who do not know, the Richmond Raceway used to be known as some different names back in its heyday. It was built all the way back, believe it or not, around 19, I had this pulled up just a little bit ago, 1946. 1946, the first series of the AAA Championship Car Series. That was the first post-war IndyCar race. And this was at the Atlantic Rural Exposition. And it was a half-mile dirt track that also became known as Strawberry Hill. Ted Horn won a race on October 12th of 1946, and the NASCAR came around and it started racing in 1953 at this track. Of course, the track was then paved in 1968, and then in 1988, that's probably the more notable resurfacing we remember of this track. It's when it became a D-shaped 3/4 mile oval from the original half-mile shaped track here in Richmond. What we have here today. And of course, you always hear the story of, usually it's Mike Joy that points it out. Usually any broadcaster that sees a race at Talladega, they usually say, hey, you know, start finish line's down towards turn 1. You get that old story. Similar here to Richmond, but for different reasons. Talladega, the reason why the start finish line's down towards turn 1 is because Big Bill France wanted to sell the seats down that way. So we put the start-finish line down there. Pretty easy trick, right? Well, Richmond, you'll notice the start-finish line here is closer to turn 4. As a matter of fact, watch right here as they come off the corner. There's the start-finish line. And then you roll all the way down to turn 1. The reason for that was the way that the old track used to be, the half-mile track. That was where all their technology and stuff was set up for the start-finish line. So they technically said, you know, we're just going to keep it right here. And that's what the start-finish line is now. 24 laps in. 1.3 seconds now from Worrell, or from Whitley to Worrell, and of course Carrington right there. Already seeing 23 green flag laps. Very impressive here. Of course, the cooler track temperatures helping these cars grip up a little bit. Lap time's already about a second off the pace for most of these guys. As Ritter looking inside of Kyle Hall for the 11th position, as Peters and Strunk also coming into play here. Before the race, and he mentioned that he didn't feel that the tires were going to fall off much, and he felt that he could get out there and run a little bit, and he's gained 6 positions here early. And you wonder how much in that long run might hurt that one car. We'll have to see as this goes on. And for those keeping track at home, we had 3 cars not start the race. Jonathan Cadell, Mike Husby, Curtis White did not take the green flag, so overall 31 cars. And Ken Romnett was actually the last driver. He started the race on pit road in 31st. As Worrell under attack, here comes that 9 at Casey Carrington. Of course, this becomes interesting because when you have a guy like Worrell who's not really ran here much, Carrington might not be so used to racing him, so he's got to be kind of timid a little bit here and be careful. He'll put himself in a bad position, but look behind him here. Here comes that 3 of Justin Thompson. As he got past Rosenberg a few laps back. As Carrington looks to the low side here, turn 1. He's able to edge his way forward here just a little bit, and finally he's going to clear the 60. So move Carrington up to second. Here comes Thompson now for third. He's going to take it away, so that 9 car looking pretty solid. That 3 cars looking solid right there with him, as the 60 falls back to the 4th position here. Check on Stephen Miles. He is to the inside of Brad Delph. And that Snap Fitness number 14 car, as Miles going to take the position away. And look at Matthew Weeks. He's up there against the boards almost, and he's got that 11 car roaring. 14th position, dives it inside the 14 and takes 13th position. We've got some cars working their way up here through the field. It's Rock and Roll 200 here at Richmond Raceway. Appreciate the viewers hanging out here this evening. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. As always, we appreciate you coming out, and we do always request, make sure you share out the stream to your friends and family members. We always look to build the viewers up here on a Friday night, or sorry, Thursday night. I'm still used to it being Fridays here on the Captain eSports Network. There's Whitley as Thompson has gone by Carrington for second. So that 3 car started back in the 7th, make that 8th position, has worked its way to the 2nd here early and looking pretty solid there. Back here with Spence Thompson as he has caught that 19 black and red car of Zach Rogers. And what's going to be a battle for the 6th position now. Spence, another good car, doing a good job here this evening. One car scraping the wall there off turn 2 a little bit. 38 laps in. If you're new to the chat, I want to let you know, if you click on the race description page down on the bottom part of the window you're viewing in, you can donate to help out the American Red Cross. And by doing that, you click the link and you can help out those who are affected by Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. Just in these recent weeks, just check out the American Red Cross and click that link there, or the American Red Cross website to help with donations there. Much appreciated for everybody. That is, and do want to say thank you for everybody who's helped out. Thompson, a good run here on Rogers, who of course picked up his first win in 2 years just a couple weeks ago. And about pulled out a second win last week at Talladega. Of course, some things happened there towards the end of the race. As this is settled down, let's go back to Ryan Strunk into 67. As he tries to work his way around Brad Delph as Daniel Giroux gets the wall off turn 2. Strunk looks like he's going to pass Delph and move him up to the 14th position right now. So Whitley continues to lead. He's led every lap, but that lead has shrunk just a little bit as Mark Whitley leads by 1.2 seconds now over Justin Thompson. Casey Carrington 0.4 of a second back of the 3 car who runs there in the P2 position. And for those who don't know this, you might want to get used to Richmond Raceway here this week on the Captain eSports Network, because we're here tonight. We're going to be here Monday night. We're going to be here Wednesday night of next week. The only league, the Tuesday night league, because they're off. So basically it's going to be an all Richmond week starting tonight. Hopefully you can come back and enjoy some short track racing here, because as a matter of fact, as I think about it more and more, I'm only going to be on the air twice next week, and that's Monday and Wednesday from Richmond. Matthew Weeks blows by Steve Ritter and up to the 10th position. Weeks, the fastest car right now on the track. Arguably, he's about a 10th faster than the leaders. Ran a 62 last time by. Everybody else in the 7s and 8s. Oh, caution. As up front, Dylan Rosenberg has gone around, along with the 60 of Worrell. Oh, and the 91's got clobbered by Craig Martin. That's teammates that hit each other there. Oh, wow. What was that about? That looked, I mean, we got to get a little earlier in this, but that looked like shades of Kyle Busch at Texas a couple seasons ago, or back in 2011. Here we go, earlier view of this. What in the world was that? Leaders are on pit road. We'll show you the pit stops. I'll have to get you a better view of that. On the crash cam here. I mean, that doesn't look as suspicious as it did before. As I want to go back a little earlier now and wonder how these guys got side by side, because that's going to answer this whole entire question. At first, I'm like, man, that looks bad. Oh, here we see there's always a first report. Wait, there had to be more than this. Let's rewind a little more. Everything's clean here. I mean, it's clean right now. We're going to read shortly here, somewhat to cut back, but there's more to this. Did something happen before that? Because it's like, it looks like he gets brake checked into the corner or something there. Then they're side by side coming off the corner. And then this happens. And then unfortunately for Craig Martin, he's an innocent bystander here of all of this. All right, so we did have pit stops, oh, by the way, as we were showing that replay. And Mark Whitley did win the race off pit road. Let's see if I can get you the replay real quickly here before we get to the restart. It's going to be pretty tough here. I don't think we're going to be able to pull it off. Here's where I wish I could split screen this thing, but unfortunately I can't. All right, we're just going to cut back because they just took the green flag. So here we go. Whitley, Thompson, Carrington, Zach Rogers, Spence Thompson, your top five. Everybody, just to recap the pit stops, everybody took 4 tires and fuel. There were no strategy calls or anything like that. According to my numbers, a couple bad stops. John Osborne, 23 seconds, amongst others. So you have not missed anything on pit road, it looks like. The top 6, top 7 cars have separated themselves out. The only thing I can say to that accident is I don't know how many starts Worrell has made here. I want to go look at this before making any more comments. Watch the battle here between Carnathan and the 01 and Lilith Peters. I'm looking, I don't see his name at all. So I'm not sure if this is the 60 car's first start or not tonight, but I mean, if so, that is one way not to be here much longer, unfortunately, in this league. I know Carrington's going to see that and be like, whoa. Stephen Miles inside of Carnathan for the 9th position. Or that's actually 8th, I should say, as he takes that spot away. With James Silvers there in front of him in the 7th position. Matthew Weeks up 22 spots to 6th here early in this race. Trying to get that high line rolling, much like Matthew Weeks did. Yeah, correct there, Brantley. He's 60 as Worrell. I was more trying to see his stats in the league and see if he's run in this league before. Because I was going to say, if not, then that's not a good look. Nah, you're good. I appreciate all the viewers hanging out here tonight. Appreciate those watching for the first time or just... Oh, and around goes Daniel Giroux off the bumper of the 14 at Delph. Giroux's going to be able to save it. And the second caution comes out. Saw one car come by there and clip him a little bit, and that's where you see that left front damage. That's caution out here lap 61. Delph just gets into the corner there a little bit and just gets into the back, turns him sideways, and Drew's able to lock it down, but unfortunately Josh Dillon's there to kind of door him back straight. And that's where that damage comes from, unfortunately. It wasn't much contact, but it was enough. All right, 62 laps in. Let's get a driver and let's talk to someone. Let's talk to Spence up here in the 5th position and see how he's feeling in this 89 here right now. Well, Spence, you got a copy? All right, buddy. 63 laps in. Here you are in the 5th position, having a good run so far, up 5 spots. Obviously, still trying to keep yourself obviously in contention to get a top 10 points finish this season in what has been an impressive run for you. What do we got to do to survive here tonight and potentially compete for the win?
Compared to these guys, I mean, they definitely got a lot more raw speed than I do here, but we're doing our best here though, man. Like you said, we're going to hopefully try to stay in contention for a good top 10 points finish this season. Hopefully we can try to win Rookie of the Year as well. But yeah, man, we're just going to try to still avoid the carnage. We had a front row seat for that previous incident there. So held our breath for a few minutes there, but skated through it unscathed and run top 5, and hopefully we can keep a good top 10 run here and hopefully keep in the top 5. But yeah, contending for a win here at Richmond would be pretty cool though too, because we've always run good at this place. So got a lot of optimism, but we'll just see how it goes.
Kind of an on-the-fly question here for you. What's some takeaways that you've taken from racing here, obviously this season, the races you've been at?
Dude, there's a good group of guys in here, man. Like it's a good tough series, you know, a lot of good hard racing, but a lot of good clean racing though too. Every once in a while you'll have a few run-ins with some drivers, but you know, just the key thing is at the end of the day, you know, we're all here to have fun, have a good time, and compete, you know, head to head, and be able to hopefully, you know, just keep clear heads and just have fun while we're doing this here, you know.
That sounds good, man. No, you're absolutely right. So, hey, best of luck. Looks like you're restarting inside their P5, and hopefully we'll talk later.
Yep. Thanks,
right.
Ben.
Yes, sir. That is the 89 of Spence Thompson, as we will move him down to his channel where he was hanging out tonight, and go peek at it real quickly. I think it was Lugnut, right? it was. I hope I put him in the right channel. All right, back to green. Mark Whitley continues to lead. Thompson second, Casey Carrington third, Zach Rogers and Matthew Weeks up to the 5th position here. As we wrap up the second caution there. Stephen Miles up to 6th, James Silver 7th, Thompson, Kyle Hall having a great run in the 9th position right now. Nick Leo, your top 10. As Rogers has Weeks to his outside right now as he continues to march through the field. 3 wide back near Kyle Hall as Thompson goes by. Really impressed with that high lane with it working here tonight. I know it kind of does eat the tires up a little bit until it's worn in, but Matthews obviously got that thing in rhythm as he goes by. Back here, some hard racing going on with Jordan Owens, Ken Rodnett, Jose Ruiz back at the 15th, 16th, 17th position. Dan Harnathan there in front. And one of my favorite paint schemes of all time, and I say this from the standpoint of I was nowhere near a Jeff Gordon fan growing up. However, when he broke out this Chrome Illusion paint scheme that ran at this track in 2002, I believe it was, I was like, all right, this car is awesome. It was one of the first cars that literally had that blue-purple Chrome Illusion transition to it. And unfortunately, it only lasted all of about 40 laps in the race before Sterling Marlin yeeted him in turn 3. But that car, when it was painted, probably had to have been one of the most expensive paint schemes in history. But one of the coolest. If you haven't had a chance, go watch I think it's 02. It's the first year they did the whole Chevy Rock and Roll, or the Looney Tunes Chevrolet 400 at Richmond, and you'll be able to see that paint scheme. Starts on the pole, I believe. So Whitley has led all the laps here so far under green. Justin Thompson been hanging there with him. Casey Carrington, Matthew Weeks now up 24 positions to 4th, and Zach Rogers right there in the top 5. All the action right now, though, is right back in here. I believe that was painted, Brantley. I don't think that was a wrap. I could be wrong. I believe that was a painted car. And that's the only time I think we've ever seen a Chrome Illusion painted car like that on the track. Because I know the next year his car was like a bluish green, kind of different look to it. Ooh, 45, a balloon getting the wall back there as Owens and Ken Romnett had to make some evasive actions. And that's probably why you don't get the Chrome Illusion paint scheme anymore, because of the fact of the wrap. But then again, you probably could, with today's technology, make a Chrome Illusion wrap. See why not? Thomas Stokes here in the 18th position behind Stan Carnathan. Ooh, little door banging up. Easy boys back here. Oh, you can't. Okay, I was wondering. I was thinking with technology, maybe with the color, somehow you can, but we're not there yet. I can only imagine how light the wrap is now. I mean, obviously, it makes the car so, you know, less drag, I guess, with the lighter weighted wrap. .81 laps complete. This time by as Whitley 0.6 of a second now on Thompson. Harrington 0.3 back, Weeks and Zach Rogers all them within a second of each other. Thank you, Google. I was wondering how that worked. Because it's not, I mean, you see those kind of cars out here, though. You get like a, you know, sometimes you'll see like a, most of the time, I'm just kind of referencing cars I see it on, like a box Caprice or one of those old school, like, cop car looking police Caprice cars. Usually you'll see one or two of those out there somewhere, and it has that chrome illusion paint on it. And I just think it's so unique to be able to look at a car in one angle and it's purple, and then you turn around and it's blue. Kind of like the old candy apple paint. I guess that was a kind of flake too, probably, in it, right? For second, Casey Carrington has moved past Thompson. So obviously that 9 made a little bit of adjustment racing-wise, and he's been able to slide past the 3 car here during this run, and now Weeks is going to come by with him. Maybe. Thompson's going to fight him. I can't say I have, but now that you say something, I probably will. Because you know how that whole theory works, right? That whole theory there is you go around thinking you've never seen a certain car before, and all of a sudden you buy the car or you rent, you use it as a rental or something like that, and all of a sudden the next day you see like 5 or 6 of the same cars out on the road. So knowing it, you say that, I'll probably see tomorrow like a color changing BMW or something. Yeah, I was always a fan of the candy apple red and the candy apple green. Obviously, I know those are apple colors, but that looks unique. Yeah, please. Yeah, wait. Pull it up and out a second channel so they still get the likes or still get the watches. Nick Leo Spence Thompson here for the 8th position. As Thompson holding off the 69 car right now, and here comes Ritter looking inside. As we are almost to halfway already. I'm kind of wondering what Carrington said in the pep talk before the race. We talked about the average number of yellows we've seen at this track in the history. Only 2 cautions in after 90 laps. Pretty impressive. Right on board with Sargent. As he's got John Osborne who's inside there in that purple and yellow car. For dealers watching, you ever want to get my attention with a car, color-wise, you find me candy apple red, candy apple green. You could find me a yellow, and it has to be canary yellow. It cannot be that darker shade. It's got to be that bright yellow on like a Mustang or something like that, or a Camaro, any kind of car that's that canary yellow. For some reason, I'm not a fan of the color yellow too much, but that color stands out to me. And you'll have my eyes definitely turn around looking at that car. Look at Matthew Weeks as here he comes, running up against the boards. Trying to steal the second position away. And there he goes, that crossover move, uses the top side, gets the run, drops it down to the bottom here. Carrington gonna get on his door, trying to pinch him down off of turn 2. But Weeks is gonna clear him with ease. Carrington backs off and says, dude, you can have it. Matthew Weeks up to second. And let's see if he can go catch this 77 and give him a run for his money. But it has been the Mark Whitley show up here at the front. Looking to put a stamp on potentially a third straight All-American Cup Series championship. And not only that, he would become the all-time winner in the All-American Cup Series series if he were to win tonight. He tied the record 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen. And looks to break the record here tonight. That has been held ever since basically the beginning of the league, season 1 and 2. And John Eckert, who of course will be one of the first members of the All-American Hall of Fame. I mean, you could easily compare starts and say, hey, who's the better driver? But to argue that, I don't know, would be fair to either driver, because obviously the competition in Season 8 has been a whole heck of a lot tougher than what you saw in Season 1 and Season 2. And that's no disrespect to John and the field there at that time. But you know, you look at a brand new league compared to a league that's now been around for 4 years. The competition has grown night and day. So that's what makes the Mark Whitley run of 18 race wins very impressive. Check out back here, 17th position, Thomas Stokes and John Osborne. Kyle Hall, and there's Jose Ruiz in a 23 car having a pretty solid run. We will hit the halfway point this time by Kyle Hall, unfortunately free falling here after running the first bit of this race up there in the top 10. That Powder Coat Plus 87 car is having some issues here in this run. I want to remind everybody you have a chance to enjoy some Captain eSports Network gear by checking out the Captain store down below. Hit that button to drop down into the race description area, and you can look right there and see a link to the Captain eSports Network store that features t-shirts and jackets and hats and coffee and adult beverage mugs and so much more with the Captain eSports logo on there. And you can get that right now by going to that link, and it'll appreciate the support that everybody's done out there. I've seen plenty of people wearing the Captain t-shirts, and seen the different alcoholic glasses and so much more. It's been really cool to see. Kind of humbling at the same time too. But check that out right now. Up front, Matthew Weeks has caught Mark Whitley. As Whitley's led the first half of the race, and here comes the 11 car. Running part-time this season, but he has been fast every time he has been on the track. And look back there in fourth, Stephen Miles now up to the fourth position. So the top 3 in points hanging out here in the top 4 right now. cream has risen to the top at the end here. And Weeks is going to clear the 77 through 1 and 2. All the way from 28th to the lead. And Whitley is like, I'm not giving it to you that easy, guy. And he cleared him for the lead. So congratulations to Matthew Weeks, who gets behind Whitley. And a great little battle there. Of course, Carrington hanging out about a second back. And then Stephen Miles there too. Of course, Matthew Weeks getting wins at Darlington this season. And then 2 other wins at the Brickyard 200 and the Bluegrass 200. And of course, he's been there hit and miss. Been running some of the another series that has some full distance races. Been doing a lot of that. Been seeing a lot of his updates on Twitter. And he's been having some halfway decent runs in those races. Of course, Mark Whitley won at Watkins Glen just 2 weeks ago, and then New Hampshire. Now, a reminder: next week we will not be here for the race at Halloween, I should say. It is Halloween night next Thursday night, and the Captain eSports Network will be taking that night off and dressing up as Anger from Inside Out. I don't think I can sound like Lewis Black, but I can sure as heck try. I mean, his voice does kind of have a Gilbert Godfrey sound to it, and I used to be able to do a Gilbert Godfrey pretty well. Rest in peace to that man. There's Ken Rumnett. 12th position here for the 09 as he looks inside of Nick Leo for position. Ken started this race on pit road, believe it or not. And he is now taking the 11th position, or trying to get it here, from the 69 car. And Leo able to hold him off right now. Cars off the track here. Of course, Curtis White, Mike Husby, Jonathan Goodell didn't start the race. Dylan Rosenberg with the first caution of the night. He and Morrell getting together, and a very interesting looking wreck. They're out of the race. Ryan Strunk also out of the race. Craig Martin 10 laps down in the 28th position. Lilith Peters is 2 laps down in 27th. And that's about it for lap cars. 26 on the lead lap. Well, it's one of those, my daughter's being Joy. So we talked about it, and she was like, all right, you're going to be Joy, or I'm going to be Joy. And then she turned to my wife and said, you're going to be Sadness, and Daddy, you're going to be Anger. And I'm like, that fits. It's James Silvers and Ken Romney at the pit road here at 113. This is might be a little out of the window. It's Casey Carrington to pit road. Of course, all these guys pitted at lap 46, and you do the math from there. 114, 46, that's, was it 70, is that 68 laps? These guys are going to be short on fuel, as here we go with green flag pit stops. Of course, I'm going to see if I can go to a costume place and get this costume, and when I do, I want to see if I can find like a little smoke machine somewhere, like a small one, and see if there's a way I can do it battery wise. How cool would it be to, like, somebody gets me frustrated and all of a sudden I start smoking? I mean, because I can't have a flame blowing out of my head. That might be a little dangerous. These two have been battling since the restart. Spence Thompson, Steve Ritter for 6th. Jordan Owens behind them, running in the 8th position, doing a good job. Should mention Carrington, 15.2 second stop. He is down and away. 14.7 for Silvers. Robnett with a 14.8 as he is pulled away. Didn't realize I didn't have the times at the bottom, so apologies for that. But here is Trevor McLaughlin on pit road now. Look at this battle for second. The top two in points. Steven Miles has reeled in Whitley, and he goes to the inside, and almost some contact there. And Miles up to second. All of a sudden you wonder if Whitley maybe burned up the tires a little bit there for this run. Where's Casey Carrington with his pit stop? Really nothing to lose at this moment. 30 back. Going to try to undercut the field here and get up there in the front and see what he can do. As I look down at those lap times right now, he just ran a 22.79. Leaders at a 95 and 24 flats. That almost got tricky. Sargent with the fresh tires into the corner there, and he had the second place car, or third place car now right behind him. Stan Carnathan, Josh Dillon, Nick Leo now to pit road. Lap 121. Fantastic racing here this evening. Great job by everybody for the most part, keeping it clean here tonight. As here's Kyle Hall to pit road, and here comes your leader. The 11 is in, Matthew Weeks. And one thing I should point out, this pit road not as hard as it is in real life, and the reason being, off there in the middle of 3 and 4, there is no cone like there is in real life. There's that box out there that you have to be the inside of in real. Oh, caution! Uh-oh. As Josh Dillon might want to leave his CX2 channel right now, because I'm pretty sure that his teammate and car owner Casey Carrington and other drivers who are on pit road might be in Dylan Rosenberg's category right now. What happened to Josh Dillon? I was just talking about how pit road, not as hard as it is in real life to get onto here. Uh-oh, we have friendly fire. Dillon goes in there and there's cold tires on that 12. And he just loops it around. And leaders are on pit road now. And as I was starting to say, with the way pit road is here, there usually is a box that sits down in the middle of 3 and 4, and you have to get all 4 wheels to the inside of that box to commit to pit road. And on iRacing, that box isn't there. As Miles wins the race off pit road, Mark Whitley going to be second. I think Lilith Peters got the lucky dog ears. Ritter's going to come out third. Have to verify if Lilith got the lucky dog. Is Benzo going to jump in chat here on us at a point where there might be a very lot of angry people. As when it's your time, and look at the top 2 now in this race. It is the top 2 in the points. At 74 laps to go, everybody should be good to go from here. So Peters does go to pit road, and that's going to trap Carrington, Silvers, and others here a lap down, it looks like. Yeah, they're going to take the wave around here as we get 1 to go. You're going to see a lot of cars go by here. So Brad Delph's going to get waved around. So is roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cars. Back to Nick Sargent. About a third of the field here is going to get a wave around. And that's going to put a lot of them back on the lead lap here. But we're doing good, man. Hope you're doing well. And appreciate all the viewers for hanging out. Again, a reminder about the American Red Cross. You can always donate by clicking on the link in the information page there for helping out the victims of Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene. Of course, we got the Captain eSports Network stores I mentioned in there. Your chance to check out some of the merchandise for the Captain eSports Network. And then also want to give a shout out to, speaking of great people, 40 Racewear and Jim Herrick. Big shout out to Jim and what he does for gloves and shoes and so many different items to choose from if you want to enhance your iRacing or whatever sim you like to race experience. Check out 40racewear.com for all the info there. Well, that was an interesting flip of the race. As all those wave around cars are going to have to start behind the lucky dog, Lilith Peters, in lap cars as they work their way up through the field. Stephen Miles leads the race as we go back green, and I'm going to try it to turn it up. Things got a little tense there a minute ago. I think that was Casey Carrington we were on board with, and somebody had the car in full lock to the right as he got very loose there in 3 and 4 as he tries to get up here, of course, on the little bit older tires now. He is back in the lead lap now in the 14th position as he's going to need a yellows. Up the track goes Stephen Melnick. He's going to come back down. Yeah, be careful of that. But Mark Whitley did take the lead at the restart there over Stephen Miles as Miles has fallen back to second. The third place car here, Jordan, caution. Jake Vanowski is in the inside wall, turn 3. And we have caution. Let's see what happened to the former Talladega winner here, the 42 car. And we've got some split strategy happening here. Oh, what in the world? I'll have to come back and see that. That just shot out of nowhere into the wall. But look at this. Got Mark Whitley and others on pit road. Stephen Miles in the one has stayed out. Lillis Peters going to win the race off pit road with fuel only, it looks like, for the 01. As 77 takes off and others. Now, let's see if we can get a replay of this caution. They were 3 wide almost off turn 2. And that was a lick right there. It looked like he had some contact there with the 9 potentially. It's a tough one to call because they're 3 wide there with Melanie getting loose, and you think, I wonder if Vinosky thought he might have been clear, but Casey, by us, not much. The front end was still there, and unfortunately they made contact. Talking about flipping the field around here. This is interesting. Stephen Miles leads this race now. Jordan Owens up to second. Steve Ritter up to third. John Osborne to fourth. Matthew Weeks is now fifth. The first car out of pit road is going to be Mark Whitley in the 10th position with Daniel Giroux 11th. I should correct myself. Lilith Peters actually the first car off pit road. But Whitley with 4 tires is now in the 10th position, as we'll likely get the restart here with less than 60 to go in the Chevy. I knew I was going to do it once. Richmond Rock and Roll 200. The race that in real life was actually called the Chevy Rock and Roll 250 or 400 actually. Here we go. Pace car pulls off and Miles takes off. And Osborne going to jump up to the 3rd position outside of Steve Ritter. As Miles trying to get that jump on these cars with newer tires, and here is a mess right here. And this is what I talked about at the beginning of the race with the strategies and cautions that could play a role here. If you're Mark Whitley, you've got to be very careful here, as there are fresh tires around you and then there are worn out tires all around you. Three wide, 2 rows deep behind them. Ooh, 37 smashes the wall pretty good. Of Stokes, now they're 5 wide into turn 3. There's no room. But they made it fit. You gotta be kidding me with that. Holy cow. They just took the 4 wide in Dover and said, hold my beer, boys. Miles out to a 0.6 of a second lead over Jordan Owens now. Whitley up to the 6th position. As Spence Thompson and Thomas Stokes battle it out. Oh, Ritter gets an advance. Shike sends him up the track. Daniel Giroux gets tagged. Justin Thompson, some issues almost there as everybody saves it. And we're 4 wide again. And Carrington's going to get turned. I was going to say I didn't know how much longer this would last. It finally didn't. Eesh, Melnick with the yeet on the double zero there. There's a little blink from the 3. And here we go, 4 wide down to turn 1. As everybody just comes together, unfortunately. As Miles and others now coming to pit road, and that's going to put those who just pitted up front with the shuffle here. So I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to rewind. I got to find where this happened at. I want to say it was about a lap before this. Okay, there's the save by the 92 car right about here. Let's count. Okay, right here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide as we go to turn 1. Okay, nope, I'm sorry. That was not that lap. That was actually this lap. So let's go further back because we actually did get a 5 wide. I see a car get loose here. No, it actually happens into turn 3. That's right. So turn 1's where the contact with somebody. The 37's going to get the outside wall. Yeah, it looks like it's already happened in this picture. So let's go further back. All right, here we go. Start counting. Not even in the picture here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide. And ironically, Silvers was in the 4 wide at Dover, too, and he just one-upped it and said 5 wide. Watch this, boys. So Casey Carrington got some damage, but should be okay. But you know he is not going to be happy with that whole situation, as the circumstances have not worked out for him here in this latter part of this race. Let's watch it again. What transpired to bring this caution out. And they just come together, and unfortunately Giroux and Carrington come together. Casey does a pretty good job of locking it down. Should get one to go this time by. Mark Whitley, Thomas Stokes, James Silver, Zach Rogers, Justin Thompson going to be your top 5. As we come to the green flag, and oh, Stokes and Whitley almost come together there. And around goes Jose Ruiz back here. Caution is out for the 5th time, I think. And all of a sudden, the short track racing's begun. You got cars bouncing off the wall on the restart and everything here. Contact between Owens and the 23 there. Saw the car on the outside get some contact. Let's do a better shot here in the restart. Oh, look at 23 almost got the 9. And he checked up, and unfortunately the 20 ran him over. For those who have just joined us, appreciate you hanging out here on the Captain Esports Network tonight as we're racing at the Richmond Raceway. Again, next Thursday night we'll be off for the Halloween holiday. Only 2 races next week, and that'll be Monday and Wednesday. And speaking of racing, something you can do almost every day at MC Racing in downtown Fort Wayne. Big shout out to Mark for always having us on the stream up there on his monitors as people come in there and do some racing of their own on simulators. A couple of official racers go in there and do some racing and so much more. If you're ever coming through the area, heading to a race nearby somewhere, stop by MC Racing and go check out one of their cool rigs and get the sim racing life. $43 laps to go in this race. I know I haven't really mentioned it too much, and I've kind of done it purposely because I'm not here to make something about me, and ever have been someone to make something about me, but I know it's been brought up in different races and so on and so forth. But yes, I did post a video about 2 weeks ago now talking about the future of the Captain Esports Network. And as always, as the run comes to an end coming up here in actually a few months, but the main part of it comes to an end pretty much these next 2 months. Want to say thank you to obviously all the viewers and everyone for hanging out each and every night. And we're going to try to make this as fun as possible here these next few months and stuff as, you know, step away to go be dad and go work on some health stuff and things on my end. But we're definitely going to enjoy the run here these next few races. And I want to say specifically to Casey and everybody here in this league, I will easily argue that this is one of the, if not the best league in iRacing. And it's been fun to be a part of here. And, you know, this league's in good hands for those who are curious and maybe are looking for something to do on a Thursday night. So let's check out the finish of this race. Mark Whitley leads it. James Silver, Zach Rogers, they get together, coming to the green. And here comes Nick Sargent to the inside for 4th. As Dylan Rosenberg can get back on track and contact, and Matthew Weeks is in the air. And Carrington with some more damage on the front end of 9 and others involved here. And the short track racing has broke out, and Stephen Miles stops to avoid the wreck. Oh, and what in the world? And they're wrecking still. Short track racing. It's not even a Saturday night. Wreck actually happens up ahead here a little bit. Looks like with Matthew Weeks, let's see it again. Crash cam this thing. And a little bit of a checkup. Hall gets into the 45 and everybody just piles in. And Carrington gets into the 81. And what happens with the 11 and 81 down here at the end of the straightaway? Oh, you know what? I think Weeks might have been going to pit road and didn't realize there was a car on his bottom. I think it's exactly what happened there. Tough break for both those cars. But it looks like this wreck starts with contact in the 87 and 45 potentially here. 45 trying to cross over the 9. They made contact, actually. Charles Van Schaik getting damage also here. So it looks like we did get a few cars pitting here at lap 162. But most of those cars is getting damage fixed and so on and so forth. You got 9 cars that pitted at lap 136. You got a few that pitted at lap 148. But now it looks like it could become a race of attrition here in this Richmond Rock and Roll 200. So what are the last 2 races on the schedule? Well, we will go to Charlotte Motor Speedway when we come back in the beginning of November, and then finish it all out at Homestead Miami Speedway to crown the champion. Double file. And what has been some wonky looking restarts here tonight. But we get another one here. Whitley takes off. Green flag. One of the better restarts we've seen from everybody tonight. I say that as they're almost piled up over here in turn 1 again. Well, Van Schaik contact with Brad Delph. And Van Schaik's got a broken front end or side. He might have a flat tire or something. I mean, his left front is broke. I mean, it's not flat, obviously, because you don't get flat tires in iRacing unless you, like, wear the thing out. But that is an interesting looking car. That thing is broketed. James Silver's up to second, Justin Thompson, Thomas Stokes, Zach Rogers, your top 5 now. Still got a little bit of time here as the laps tick off. 31 to go next time by. Sargent having a fantastic run in that 24 car right behind Zach Rogers, who's up there trying to get around Stokes, who pancaked the wall a little bit ago. He is fighting in that 37 car. So Josh Dillon is taking his car behind the wall, so is Matthew Weeks. And Charles Van Schaik now off the track, unfortunately, in the 00 car. As Thompson inside of Silvers for second. At the same time, Rogers trying to get around Stokes for third. Make that fourth, I should say, for Rogers. He gets around him. Trying to get around the 24 of Sargent as he tries to clear him. Jordan Hall trying to get around, or I'm sorry, Jordan Owens trying to get around Ken Robnett. And you see Casey Carrington up to the 11th position back there in that red number 9. As for Stephen Miles, he is all the way in 13th. He is right back there in that black car passing the 87. Miles right now might need some help. 26 laps to go. And a pretty big separation between him and Whitley. Whitley obviously would get the points lead back if this were to end the way it is now. And it would be a pretty decent gap back to Stephen Miles as we go into the Halloween break. Spence Thompson making a move to the inside of the 9. The 09, that is. The 9 is actually Carrington. Carrington gets around Robnett. Now he's going to try to move to the top side here and see if he can get a run on the 89 car off turn 4. Whitley's lead at 1.1 seconds. As the battle here for position. As Carrington clears to Thompson for 10th, or make that 9th, and now tries to get around Sargent for 8th. Been a fantastic race. Yeah, we've had a few cautions, but there have been some great racing and great battles throughout the night. Mark Whitley's been the dominant car. Of course, Matthew Weeks did get around him early in the race and led some laps himself. Stephen Miles was able to get up front for a few minutes, but then it turned into a pit strategy situation for a few moments with cautions. And ever since then, it is now sorted out to what we have here with 21 laps to go. As trouble, Kyle Hall goes around. And just like that, caution back out with 20 to go. Oh, add in the 42 of Vinoski. Vanoski was in trouble, it looks like, and Hall checked up and got tagged by the 0-1, who then gets into Vanoski. Oh, Hall looks like a innocent bystander to a situation for the 42. See if we can see what happened to him up ahead there. You can see he's off the pace already up there in turn 2. He got up in the outside wall, which really checked him up, and then there's some netcode contact, and bam. And the strategy's happening now. As cars are staying out, some cars are pitting. Jordan Owens, Casey Carrington, Steve Ritter, Lilith Peters stay out. As others come to pit road here, likely to put on the final set of tires that they have for this race. Interesting to see as Ritter comes back to pit road. So not sure what happened to the 16 here. We're going to have some 2 tire stops, it looks like, amongst our brigade of cars here. The strategy going to come into play when we come to the restart here. Get the green, I believe, with what, 13 or 14 laps to go. Just probably got 2 to go this time by. And thank you, viewers, for hanging out here on this Thursday evening. And you might wonder, as we look at the short tracks here, Bristol, Iowa, Nashville, Phoenix, Richmond, and USA Speedway. Now, Phoenix, I wouldn't say is a short track, but races like one. But those are the closest ones to short tracks that we have ran in the 8 seasons now of All-American Racing. And you might wonder who's been the guys to watch. Well, Mark Whitley's got 4 wins at those tracks and 7 starts. Other cars in this field, James Silvers has got himself a win. Justin Thompson, amongst others, with wins. So anything can happen here, but obviously Whitley showing he is a short track ace here. But he is going to have to work his way through the field as he will restart 5th. Stephen Miles restarting 12th. Casey Carrington on the outside of the front row. As we come to 14 laps to go, don't spin the tires, boys. As Owens launches, here we go. McLaughlin, oh, and around back there goes the 23, I believe. I saw somebody get loose. It is Jose Ruiz who got tagged by somebody. And caution right back out, and that worked perfect for those who stayed out. Stephen Melnick on the outside there. And he's the one who gets loose. Melnick down into Ruiz, and into the wall they go. Whitley did not gain a single spot on that restart, as it obviously only went 2 corners. So I can only imagine the frustration in the 77 box right now. I can understand that. Jordan Owens leads here. We're going to get the green with somewhere around 7 or 8 laps to go. Obviously, Jordan has not been full-time this season. Always good to see that driver of the 20 car in the race as he makes his 25th career start tonight and looking for that first career win. Got 5 top 5s and 10 top 10s in those 24 starts, but never the dub. Can he put that JD Designs number 20 car in victory lane here tonight with a little pit strategy? He's got some hungry hounds behind him, especially that 9 car to his outside. Got James Silvers there, who has been pretty fast all season long in that 17 car. You know he's going to want to win. Lilith Peters, another part-time driver in that 01 Altel Ryan Newman throwback from his Busch days. And, of course, Mark Whitley, who is looking to put a stamp on the championship here tonight, potentially. And has led to most laps and wants to finish the job off in that 77 car. So there's plenty of hungry hounds up here. Can everybody keep it out of trouble, though, is going to be the million-dollar question here. Brings him back to the restart here as he launches out. Carrington with a pretty good start on his outside. You know, considering obviously the curvature of the front straightaway, it makes it very tough on the outside lane. Down the back straightaway, Silvers to second, and caution right back out. Thomas Stokes in the outside wall. What happened to the 37 in front up there in the top 10? He's trying to get underneath Lilith there, and and Thompson runs him over. Justin Thompson apparently not a fan of Mike and Ike's. I'm guessing the little perturbed in the 77 box now has become a lot perturbed. play again here. That was just, wow. So between perturbed and flying stuffed Chucky doll, where is the angry meter for Mark Whitley, for Casey Carrington, for a few of these other drivers? It's all fun and games. You throw a stuffed Chucky doll. I'm just saying. We're going to come down to, so I'm doing the numbers here really quickly. If we get one to go this time by, it will not be considered an overtime finish. And that's going to play a role here because you only get 2 attempts at this. Obviously, Jordan Owens will probably take the inside lane here, which will kind of stuff the 77 back there in 4th. There we go. Pace car lights are off. We're going to get a natural green-white checker finish. Now, of course, the caution comes out during this. We'll have 2 other restarts at the most here. Yeah, I've lost count of the cautions, but I want to say we're between the 7 and 12 number. I appreciate all the viewers hanging out here and coming to watch this All-American Cup Series race, the Rock and Roll 200. As we could see a first-time winner here tonight. We shall see as Jordan Owens launches. Good restart again for him. Can we get back to the finish? Carrington, a little defensive move on Whitley there, trying to protect what little bit of a point margin he could have as Jordan Owens under attack. White flag is out, and here comes Silvers, and here comes Whitley. As they race through turn 3 and 4, coming to the line to reckon, and Whitley has done it. You gotta be kidding me! Mark Whitley has won the Rock and Roll 200 in spectacular fashion. And I have a feeling there are going to be some fireworks after this race. Okay, terrific. Let's go back and see this. I literally was moving over. I looked over to make sure my screen was up to show the finish order in the top left. And I look over back to the screen, and they're wrecking, and I'm like, what in the world just happened? All right, so let's just click the white flag here and watch all this happen. Shall we? So Jordan Owens and Silvers are racing for the win here. Whitley gets a great run off of 2. They go into, and Owens washes up in the, oh wow, and the seas parted. So Lilith Peters finishes second. Casey Carrington third. Watch all this here again. Nick Sargent, Zach Rogers going to be your top 5. And Miles is literally pushing Rob Nett to get to the line 7th. So Whitley will take over the points lead again. And we'll have to see what the points look like unofficially here. In just a, well, we'll see if we get them unofficial tonight, because obviously there's going to be some things for Mr. Carrington to look at. We take a look at the final results as Whitley wins it and becomes, by the way, with that win, the all-time leader in wins in the All-American Cup Series, his 19th career win. So congratulations to Mark on that. Lilith Peters finishes second. Casey Carrington third. Nick Sargent fourth. Zach Rogers fifth. Spence Thompson sixth. Stephen Miles seventh. Ken Robnett eighth. Jordan Owens ninth. Trevor McLaughlin finishes 10th. Daniel Giroux 11th. Nick Leo, Austin Bloom, Justin Thompson, and Stephen Melnick comes back to a 15th place finish. 16th goes to Steve Ritter. Stan Carnathan 17th. Brad Delp 18th. John Osborne 19th and James Silvers 20th. Thomas Stokes 21st. Kyle Hall 22nd. Jake Banowski 23rd. Craig Martin 24th and Jose Ruiz 25th. Charles Van Schaik, Matthew Weeks, Josh Dillon, Dylan Rosenberg, Ryan Strunk, Chris Worrell, Curtis White, Jonathan Goodell, and Mike Husby. Obviously, the bottom 3 drivers did not start the race when it was all said and done here in the Rock and Roll 200, and there was some heavy metal at the end, needless to say. And we'll see if we can talk to the top 3 drivers here and talk to Casey Carrington as he rebounds back with a lot of attrition there towards the end of this race. As Casey finished third, obviously the last lap contact and things going on there, but it seemed like once we got past that first 2 cautions, it just seemed like the short track part of the race showed up.
I once heard DW say that this track goes green to start with, you have all kinds of cautions in the middle, and then it goes green to the end. I'm still waiting for it to go green to the end, but man, I'm heartbroken for Silvers, man. He had that race, and yeah, he's about twice as mad now as I was halfway through the race, so feeling for him. Yeah, I got a good turnaround points-wise, but not really, because Whitley, snaked through. He can talk all he wants about his bad luck in other leagues, but he is the golden horseshoe suppository or whatever that this league's had for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So good win on him. I mean, I guess he was the fastest the whole race, so I guess that's deserved. But yeah, that was a wild one. I was involved in damn near every wreck tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say some craziness on your end as you worked your way through, and of course you're trying a little bit of a different strategy there mid-race, because obviously you're trying to gain points wherever you can in a situation like this. But needless to say, unfortunately, not able to make that work out, but still a fighting chance, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if Whitley has the bad luck he keeps talking about actually come around in this league, then, I mean, we're, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I've been a leapfrog this season. I mean, Matthew, it's a good thing he's not running full time because he would probably have walked away with the championship this season. The pace he's had. Whitley's Whitley, and then, Miles has kind of leapfrogged me on pace, it seems, this season. So that's kind of the reason I went off pace there, or off strategy there on that green flag pit stop. I was like, well, I can't keep up with these guys pace-wise. I'm going to have to try to jump around them. And I should have known better than the pit and the green at Richmond. But, yeah, who knows? I mean, we're going to 2 tracks that are really good for me. Just like I said, the problem is that the guy and the 2 guys I'm going to be battling for the championship are, I think, even better at those places. So we'll see how it goes. Hey, I mean, if it's anything like tonight, I mean.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Well, obviously, I know it was a wild one here tonight, and you come back with a 3rd place finish here after starting 3rd, and send some shout outs to everybody too.
Shout out to you for doing the broadcast. Shout outs for the drivers that showed up. We had more cars show up for this place than Talladega last week, which I think is part of the problem. But shout out to everybody that watched the broadcast. I know it's yeah, I don't know. We always talk about bad racing is, all these cautions suck. But when I watch broadcasts on the Captain eSports Network, I like the chaos. So hopefully it was entertaining. Shout out to my teammates. Shout out to boys at Cornerstone. Like I said, I feel so terrible for Silvers, man. He wants to win so bad, and he had that one tonight until it was kind of taken from him. But yeah, shout out to the sponsors. Shout out to Sim Racer Hub, Quentin Steed, and all that for coming on board the last couple races. And shout out to you for doing the broadcast.
Absolutely, man. Good job tonight, and I know you get some work to go do, so we'll let you go.
Yep, points will be updated soon.
Thanks. Casey Carrington finishing in the 3rd position. By the way, he is.
See ya.
Thank you.
See ya.
I don't think I'll ever forget those. Appreciate his time. He's got some work to go do, get the points updated. We'll get those here in a couple minutes. And Lilith Peters found a way to finish 2nd here tonight. Obviously, through all the chaos and stuff. Congratulations there. Plus 11 and a 2nd place finish for you tonight.
Hi, Chris. Yeah, I got lucky there. That was a race.
Yeah, no kidding. Obviously, you had your battles back there about 10th to 15th or so as you were fighting tooth and nail with a couple cars side by side throughout the race and obviously trying to avoid wrecks. But that strategy at the end for you guys to stay out helped out.
Yeah, I had no choice. But I'm surprised I held on. So I was expecting like a top 10, but I'll take a 2nd for sure.
Yeah, it definitely worked out for you. Well, appreciate obviously you coming over to talk to us here for a few minutes, but send some shout outs to everybody too.
I'll just thank the league and Casey for putting it on, because I don't run here too often, but when I do, it's always good racing, and even if I'm backpack or whatever, I'm having fun.
That's all that matters.
So thanks for broadcasting and everything.
Absolutely. Great job, Lilith, and congratulations.
Good night.
You too. Lilith Peters finishing in the 2nd position as we welcome in the new all-time winningest driver in All-American Cup Series history with his... Let's look at this stuff over here on the side. Forgive me. The all-time winningest driver with his 19th career win. Congratulations, Mark. And, well, I guess you picked this fabulous way to go get it. Dominating a race there, and then unfortunately some things happened, and you pulled it off, man. Congratulations, well earned.
Yeah, we pulled some risky strategy in different parts of the race. It worked out pretty good, and honestly, there coming to that natural green-white checkered, I was really thinking that the smarter call would have been just to stay out when we all pitted there, and they all stayed out, because I didn't think there'd be that much carnage at the end, but you never know with these type races. So I was really kind of second guessing my decision, and got a okay jump on the restart. Me and Casey battled pretty hard. He was trying to defend. Finally got around him there on the last lap and got a good run off of 2. And I just saw them 2 side by side, and I just told myself, all right, go in the corner and just hook the bottom, and hopefully they would race each other and move up the hill. Maybe I could get up underneath both of them 3 wide, and we can maybe come across the line 3 wide for the finish. But then, yeah, I went in the corner, and all of a sudden, I think it was Jordan. He just looked like he locked the tires up, and he just went straight up the hill, and it was like the Red Seas parted, and I just had a clear view, and I about spun it out because I got so excited. I had clear track. I gassed it up too soon and I had to drift it a little bit, but it's really nice. Somehow I've maintained pretty decent luck in this league compared to all my other ones. I'll definitely take that. That was a hell of a way to win. I think I've actually won one here before like that, and it's kind of wild. It's now happened twice. Good racing all night. I think it's a pretty good race, pretty good green flag runs, till the end. But short tracks with this Gen 4. I mean, you touch someone, it spins them out. So I think it's pretty good. That had a lot of green flag run, and toward the end there, just kind of what you got to expect with iRacing. It's not anything, not a detriment to the league or anything. Just one of those things that just kind of happens, especially with this car. So I'll take that, especially coming in here down in the points, and I'll continue. We got, I think, 2 more weeks, and hopefully try to continue this momentum.
Yeah, obviously, that was it worked out perfect for you, and then obviously we're going to see the points here in a minute, and I know you're going to be probably thrilled to see you'll be the points leader again, and we'll see how far the margin is here in a second. I'm going to take a peek at it real quick before I show everyone.
13.
I can. 13. So yeah, 13-point lead. Get a week off and go to Charlotte, obviously. So a little bit of an advantage there over Miles as you go to 2 pretty fun 1.5-mile tracks with Charlotte and then Homestead, Miami to finish it out. But that's got to be a little exciting to know that you've kind of got control here going these last 2 races.
It's always good to have a cushion. You never want to sit back and just relax because, I mean, last 2 weeks are a prime example. Miles won last week at Talladega, and I think I finished around 7th or 8th, which is where he finished tonight. So it's so tight right now. I mean, you can't afford to have an off night. Thankfully, both tracks we're going to, I really like Charlotte, and Homestead's probably up there, if not tied, for my favorite. So hopefully we can keep this rolling and just continue the good roll, and maybe not win both of them, but at least contend for it and give Miles a run for his money, and hopefully we can pull this thing off.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations. Last question, obviously, to be the all-time winningest driver now in this league officially. It's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. This league's been nothing but great to me. All the members, the Casey running it ever since I came in here. First race was subbing for Brad. He couldn't make the road course race, and me and him raced together in a different league, and he had me sub over here, and it was so fun. Raced these guys. I ran a few more times that season and decided to make it full time after that, and it's one of my favorite leagues. I hope it keeps going. I know Casey's been having second thoughts in the past couple seasons, wanting to know if he wants to continue or not, but I really hope he does, because this is probably my favorite league I've run maybe like my whole iRacing career. So this league's awesome. It meant a lot to me when Casey did the whole Hall of Fame thing. That was a really big honor, and then this to be the all-time winner, I feel like that's just as big of an honor, and hopefully I can keep it going and extend that lead. And records are meant to be broken, but hopefully I can set a bar high enough where it might be hard to be broken.
There you go, man. Well, hey, great job tonight. Send some shout-outs.
Huge shout out to Brantley. I know he's been having major computer issues lately, and he finally got a loaner for the week. His spotting was awesome tonight, keeping me informed on where Miles was and where everybody else was that I was racing, and especially there on that last corner. I think he about had a heart attack like I did, because he just saw it's like the red seas, and he couldn't believe it either. So huge shout out to him, man. Check him out at harpoondesign.com. He does awesome stuff. Shout out to the league. Like I said, lots of green flag racing tonight. Love to see it. The ends, it is what it is, but the whole night up until that point was awesome. Shout out to you for putting on a broadcast. It should be fun to go back and watch, especially the ending. I think seemed like it was made for TV drama almost. And shout out to my family members, my mom, dad, granddad, tuning in these broadcast races. They could be doing a lot more fun stuff on a Thursday night, but they tune in here and watch me race, and I really appreciate it.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations. Go enjoy the Halloween week off, and we'll see you in Charlotte in 2 weeks as the points leader.
Sounds good, man.
Absolutely. Mark Whitley, the winner tonight, becomes the all-time winningest driver in All-American Cup Series history with his 19th career win, and he definitely made it exciting there at the end as he was able to lead the most laps, but the contact between Jordan Owens and James Silvers, obviously allowed Mark to slide through on the bottom and go to victory lane here at Richmond. And it is a wild track, as why they call it the action track. So to do it here, let's actually get the point standings before I take off. And as a matter of fact, I was actually getting something else really quickly here, so stand by 1 second. Hope everybody did enjoy the broadcast tonight, as always. And if so, you hit that subscribe button if you could, please. It'd be much appreciated. And if you're coming back, we do appreciate you coming to hang out as always. You're going to hear a noise here in a second, just FYI. Actually, I can get that noise right now. There we go. My best Bob Ross impersonation as I sit here and talk through everything. And this should be the updated points. There it is. Mark Whitley leads officially by 13 over Stephen Miles. Casey Carrington 39 points back. Justin Thompson now 92 back. James Silvers 5th. Zach Rogers 6th. So points wise right now it's pretty much down to 3 drivers officially with the number of points that you can gain in a race. So what we got going into the race 2 weeks from now from Charlotte. Obviously we're now off next Thursday night for Halloween. And we'll return at the beginning of November for the final 2 races at Charlotte and at Homestead Miami Speedway. Want to give a shout out, a special shout out to Sim Racer Hub. Of course, they are the premier partner of the All-American Cup Series during most of the second half of the season. Clinton and the guys there do a fantastic job with this website. All my stats, all the point standings that you see me cutting and pasting and stuff like that, like this, comes from that website. And Clinton obviously does a fantastic job, and I want to tip my cap to him for helping out Casey in the series here for this season and stuff. Obviously, the other premier partners too, which is Leaf Guard of Vermont, of course, Powder Coat Plus, and I believe we'll have another sponsor coming up here for these last couple of races, if not the next race at Charlotte. So, but definitely big shout out to all of them. All-American Cup Series, Casey Carrington, and all the drivers, all the viewers. Appreciate all the fun here this evening. Thank you, everybody, for watching on this Thursday. Let's go get some rest. And, yeah, I'm off until Monday. So you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain eSports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.